5 deep, sipping on orphan tears. The 80s really were a different
Hey,
time.
bro, we're live. Hi, this is Nino. Welcome to the Boise Hive podcast. Super excited about today's episode. I'm here always with my graphic designer, engineer, co-executive producer, Alex Gamble. Go ahead and say hi, Alex.
Yes, hello.
All right. And I also have Nick O'Leary from Balks here today.
Hey, everybody.
And he's going to talk about, some personal experiences that he has dealing with suicide. And I'm super excited that he's here, and I appreciate him being vulnerable enough to have these conversations. But as always, let's get into some Hive stuff. You might not know, but the mission of the Boise Hive is to prevent suicide within the local music community. And anyone else will tell you here that that it's not just within the music community. I mean, it's the community in general. You don't have to be a musician to take advantage of the magic that is the Boise Hive. And there's a number of different things that go on throughout the week. So we'll talk a little bit about that. On Tuesdays, we have Life Recovery every Tuesday, 12 to 1:30. Also on the Tuesdays, we have a new program where we do our Live at the Hive broadcasted on the radio. That's Tuesday, 3 to 4 on tropico.fm. You can find them on instagram.com/tropico.fm. And I'll explain that a little bit. What that is a replay through radio of the live performances that we have every Saturday. So it's actually a really big deal for us to be able to replay that. We do that on the we do that on the YouTube as well, but having the Live at the Hive being broadcasted through radio is pretty big for us. Would you agree, Alex?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, I would agree as well.
Yeah, and
if you guys want my opinion.
No, that's fine. Can you talk a little bit more about the Live at the Hive, Alex, about what you guys do on Saturdays?
We just put on amazing shows for a lot of these local bands. Some are brand new, some of them are more well-known. And, they just get really high-quality sound. They can get, like, the files that have, like, all the footage and the raw audio of it, and that raw audio is, like, as high quality as we can get it.
You basically just have a live album if you hit it clean.
Yeah, it's it's a good backdoor toward to a demo if you want to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I consider it to be like the best showcase in town.
It really is.
Yeah, it might not be the biggest venue or like have the most pull, but they broadcast it on YouTube, they broadcast it on Facebook and on Twitch. People that can't show up can see it. Like he was saying, you get all this awesome footage and awesome audio that you basically get to use for your band and do whatever you want with.
Yeah, we're trying to take over Tiny Desk.
Yeah,
is the goal.
And I think that intimate experience, that kind of Tiny Desk relates, is what the kind of show you get at Hive. You know, which is a different. Your
friends and family show up, you rock out, and we broadcast it online.
Yeah,
like it's really cool. The concept is working. So that's on. So on Tuesdays, we replay the Live at the Hive 3 to 4 again on tropico.fm. You can find them on instagram.com/tropico.fm. And also the last Tuesday of every month, we're doing a musicians meeting, so where a bunch of different musicians can get together, talk about their projects, network, get some things going. Again, that's the last Tuesday of every month. On Wednesday, we have Sober Curious, 6 to 7:30. And the last Wednesday of every month, we have Open Mic, 6 to 8, which is also a good program. You get all the rad live effects of playing at the Hive, and they're really open to any type of acts. You could be a harp player, you could be a hip hop band, you could be spoken word, poetry. Test us. Come on down here with your act, get on stage, and we'll make sure that you're seen.
Yeah, the variety is the name of the game with it.
Yeah, we're just trying to get as many different types of acts we can, so don't think that it just has to be a rock band or something like that. We're also on Thursdays, we're doing hip hop night 6 to 10. And on Fridays, we have our Vets Jam It Out from 6 to 9. Don't have to be a vet for that, but it is a cool opportunity to have a jam session here at the Hive. So that is our story. I'm sticking to it. As always, we have our first band feature of the show. Today, we are going to listen to a track called Echo from the Crawlouts. The Crawlouts information can be reached at linktree /the Crawlouts. So I'll go ahead and play a little snippet of this track. Again, this is Echo from the Crawlouts. Okay, once again, that was the Crawlouts with Echo. Again, all of their information can be found on Linktree / the Crawlouts, which brings me to our special program today. Again, we have Nick O'Leary here from Balks Band. Their information can be located on boxband.com, and that's BALKSBAND.com. But he also has an interesting experience and a very telling story about his personal experiences. So let's bring him into the show. Nick, go ahead and say hi to everyone again.
Hey, everybody.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about you and the band. How long you guys been jamming together?
So, just about a year. A lot of us had played together, previous bands, just the normal scenario of just being around one another in the scene. So we really hit the ground running pretty hard. Within probably the first 3 months, we put out a 5-song demo and then kind of retooled, add some stuff to it to finish out the 10-song record.
Yeah, and that's out now, right?
Yeah, that's out now. Bad
And that
Manners.
could all be found through boxband.com, correct?
Boxband, yeah. I mean, it's going to be on Spotify, Bandcamp, everything. MP3 player or, oh my God, MP3 Wave player is going to be on the website. So you can have full access to it no matter what platform you have access to.
And so a lot of the theme for today's show is going to be kind of based on surviving suicide. Yeah. And I know you have personal experience with that. I'm so glad that you're still here with us. And
Thank you.
through doing research, some things were interesting to me that you never think about when it comes to this topic. And one of them was reacclimation back into society. We were talking about this a little bit before, but like people that you know are going to see you, people that coworkers, people that that you want to be respected by. And it can be, from what I was doing the research on, it can be a very big deal in having to face those facts every day.
Yeah. I think that when you initially have your attack, and for me, my attempt was a little over 2 years. October 2nd, essentially my survival day from here on out. But it's immediately, you're incredibly raw. There is that shame, almost not only a shame of survival, but shame of the burden that you put on all these people. Where I think there's a connotation a lot of times where it's a very selfish act, where most of the times is you just feel like you're letting everybody down. So trying to make face, trying to see those people, even also too when they're there for you, it's almost harder to deal with, or you have to put up barriers because you worry about them most of the time.
Yeah, absolutely. And you had an interesting way that you kind of dealt with that. Could you elaborate on that and how you kind of told everyone about that?
Yeah, I mean, I told very close people in my initial attack. I was very lucky that I had close friends that I could reach out and knew that I had to talk to someone. But you eventually go, and then 8 months pass, 9 months pass, and then you go, you want to share that. A part, and also, too, is one that I had started in small bits talking about it with other musicians at shows, and then wanted this to be a part. So, yeah, I did the Instagram blast. It was also around the same time where the DJ of Ellen DeGeneres' show had committed suicide. So I was seeing a lot of things I didn't agree with, but I understand a lot of the voyeurism with suicide. So I wanted to share my story along with that, so that way there could be information about it. But then also too, I can get that out to that wide audience because those one-on-one conversations are so hard.
Yeah, and you got to choose how you did that too.
Yeah.
And you didn't have to worry about what somebody else was going to say or tailoring that to that individual. I thought that was an interesting way to kind of, at some point when you were comfortable, get the mass word out, just to kind of get it all on the table. Now, what were some of the things that led to your experience?
So I think a lot of it was... personally, after going through treatment for a long time, it was long-term undiagnosed PTSD from childhood abuse. And I would become very anxious, very hyperactive. And they talk about this therapy. There's a term called window of tolerance that most people live in, and they can spike up or down. Hyperarousal is when you're very anxious, and PTSD. Hypoarousal is depression. So it was always up. The problem with hyperarousal is you can be really productive in it. You can be really focused. They talk about a lot like with manic depression where you just have this high and the drop, but I would just stay high.
And the outside world doesn't know what you're dealing with on the inside. If you're staying on the high, they just think everything's great.
Oh, absolutely. No, that's the thing is, yeah, they just think, oh, he's funny. They never see it coming because we value that in society of that high focusing. You know, I have my own business. I got music. Very outgoing in a lot of ways.
Very successful a lot of the times with these scenarios.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also, a lot of that fuels the hyper arousal. You know, the work hard, play hard kind of ethos that a lot of us pull or feel that if we are not following, urges it.
It's
It's
like
just
walking on the edge, you know?
It absolutely is. And I called it, I thought about it that I called it the two treadmills where I was always on one and trying to speed up to jump to the second one where, yeah, if I finish this, I do this, I'll find self-worth. You know, especially I think in musicians too, we define self-worth by the songs we write or these small little things that, you know, keep us going.
And how big was it for you? I mean, I love what you just went with that, but how big was it for you to have that musical outlet?
You know, it was the only thing that I found self-worth with when I was a kid. It took a long time to write or understand how to write emotional health songs. But after EMDR, especially with this album, there was a lot of songs are really able to like say it out correctly. But also it's because I got the amount of time in treatment to really like lock in those thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely. And what type of treatment did you do, or what type of help did you seek? Like, you know, after in the aftermath.
So I initially did talk counseling throughout, but I think the difficult part with counseling is that it depends on the quality of the person. I mean, I fully believe in it, but you do have to be careful. I mean, I went to a counselor many years ago. The first thing out of their mouth was, "I think whatever happened in your family, you should just get over." And this was, you know, and hearing that, knowing that I have all of these things, immediately shut down any possibility. But I knew that I needed to do more. I got really lucky that not only after the test that I was not on a waiting list, I had the funds also to be able to get a decent therapist. But yeah, my therapist, you sat down for 3 months, and then we went to EMDR, and I knew that I wanted to do something more active in therapy because of how quick my mind could go and how anxious you can get. A lot of times you can just fill that therapy session with just blabbing because you don't know how to refine your own arguments.
Yeah, and it can be therapeutic in one side, but it could also
Cathartic, yeah.
exactly. It could also hinder the recovery process as
sure.
well if there's not actual like action being taken. But sometimes getting stuff on your chest too can obviously help. What would you tell somebody that is on the edge that might, at times think that they're in a spot where they're actually going to try? Like, what would you tell someone?
I think one, I think the first thing that you got to bring up is like, dude, you're dealing with a lot. Congratulations, you're still here. You know, we don't talk about the strength enough of people and even to the people who've lost the battle, they still struggled with a lot all those days. So I think that that's the first thing to try to pull them out of that. Normalize it. That so many people where like you're in this situation not because of you, where you feel burden because you feel that blame. Trying to separate those and normalize it absolutely can just kill the tunnel vision for a minute. I think the other thing too is treatment is incredibly hard to seek. It's incredibly hard to get past that burden and then find good and then afford it or get off a waiting list. I think the big thing is to reach out if you've got people and create a safety plan. I think that's the one thing too that you reach out to people, and I've dealt with it on both sides. That even with my experience, I don't want if someone come to me about it, there's only so much I can do without being an actual physician, doing the 8 years of school.
Absolutely.
But safety plans, people you can call, things you can do, understanding your triggers, especially since, the manic states I would be in, you feel unsafe in that sometimes you don't even recognize, that you're in third gear. So trying to, and so I think a lot of times too, journaling with the idea of like just really being able to use that as a data source,
channeling your thoughts,
to pull yourself out, but then look back and go like, okay, this day was really bad. Here was how I was feeling. And I can know to call these people, do these activities, reach out to these certain groups.
Like, here's some key indicators on that day that got me to third gear.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful information. So again, we are talking. We had Nick here, O'Leary from Balks. I want to thank you for being on the show today. This information has been wonderful. I'd even like to have you on the show in the future.
Absolutely.
Maybe on season 2, because this is just such good information. So what I want to leave everyone with, and I'm not a doctor, but in doing this research, and there's a lot of common denominators, and some of these things are obviously, if you need help, get professional help. But some things that you can take control over now are things like be kind to yourself, prioritize yourself, make sure you're not putting yourself in situations where you're not going to thrive. That could be anything from a work change, a relationship change. Sometimes these are barriers that you might have to break down. Sometimes these are things that you know are going to be tough, but be kind to yourself. Make sure you're putting yourself in a situation to where you can be. Take care of your health, prioritize it, eat healthy, drink enough water. Little stuff like this. Maybe even try a support group. There are a number of different things. Talk to people that you trust. There are organizations that can help you. One of them is the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. All of their information can be reached on afsp.org. And the Hive has a number of different resources here, and we can be reached at boisehive.org. We also have a YouTube channel. You can search Boise Hive. Our telephone number is 208-344-4994. We also have a Spotify channel that you can search. So if you are experiencing any type of suicidal thoughts, or if you are in a crisis, you can always call or text 988. This is Nino here with Nick and Alex, signing off of the Boise Hive podcast. Let's go!
All right, and playing us out today, we got a track from Troyject. You can find them on Instagram at Troyject, and the song's called It's Alright. Here we go.
Have a seat. This may take a while. I pinch myself so I don't cry. You made me this way. Your hunger ate me alive. Should have been left there to die. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright. It's alright.